Hi class. Still out with pneumonia, but I should be back Friday, hopefully. We'll go, fingers crossed. But anyways, hopefully you have your match journal already. If you haven't pulled that out, pull it out now, or if the class just needs more time, the teacher filling in for me can pause this. But anyways, today we'll be covering some angle relationships, so go ahead and title your page. Let me recenter. Some angle relationships. So again, title your page as such. And the three we'll be looking at today is going to be complementary, supplementary, and vertical angles. So with that, go ahead and give yourself a title for each. And again, lastly, vertical angles. Alright, and I want you to draw a few basic shapes for this. So first off, go ahead and draw a nice 90-degree angle. You can use kind of your coordinate system. Use your grids, kind of line it up. Second one, you can just draw kind of like a line out underneath, like that. And our fourth one, we'll draw a single point, and then just kind of two lines that intersect right at that point. Alright, so for our first one, let's actually just very concretely label. That's a nice little right angle there. And so from that, we know that this opens up to 90 degrees. So we're just going to go ahead and draw kind of like some line coming out of it. So anywhere at all. I'm going to make it purposely not like bisecting or right down the middle. I'll draw it kind of like that. And you could kind of label it like on Tuesday where we go like a point here, a point here, and a point here in an angle. I'm going to make it a little bit more basic. We'll just call this angle A and angle B. Or if you want to be a little bit more specific to say that's the angle, you could say angle symbol B and angle symbol A. Alright, so first off we established this opens up to a 90-degree angle. So therefore, if I see something like this, I know that if I add this plus this, they're just going to add up to 90 degrees. Pretty simple. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and write that relationship really quick. We've got angle A plus angle B and that's going to equal 90 degrees. Alright, we got first relationship down. Second relationship, I'm going to draw any old angle off here. So you can draw it like so or some other way. But the point I'm trying to make here is if I were to look at the entire way across, it's just a straight line. So if I look at this opening here, it's a 180-degree angle. So if I just label these points as well, we'll just very arbitrarily call this A, and we'll call this B. Then therefore, if I add A and B, or to be more specific, angle A plus angle B, we must get 180 degrees. Alright, finally, vertical angles. If I were to look kind of across, you can see they look extremely similar. Like if I were to trace an angle here, trace an angle here, they look exactly equal, and that is exactly what you will get. So anything across from each other like this, we'll call this angle A, and again angle B, are going to be exactly equal. And you might say, where does it show up? They show up a lot. Alright. So again, just to recap, you see complementary angle, you know the relationship, they add up to 90 exists. Supplementary, you're going to add up to 180. And vertical angles, if I see this out in nature or in any kind of like physical diagram, I know they're going to be equal to each other. Alright, with that, if your teacher hasn't passed this out already, go ahead, have him pass it out, or her pass it out, or they pass it out, and go ahead and just tape it in or glue stick it into your binder. So go ahead and do so. If we need to pause the video, go ahead and do so, but go ahead and tape that into your binder. And as you're doing it, go ahead and read off the question, see if you can figure out what it's asking. So we'll keep going, but again, pause so students have time to kind of go through that. I'm going to move this up slightly so we can really see the problem at hand. Alright, so hopefully at this point you've had time to review it, but we can see that we have some angles here. Like I could call this angle right here that's opening up, I could call this angle ABC, which is exactly right there, so I'll go ahead and draw that in. I also have angle DBE, which if I trace D, then B, then E, I know that's this angle right here. And I know that if you kind of look through, you can kind of quiz yourself on it. Is it a complementary? Is it a supplementary? Is it a vertical? We can see, oh, they're exactly across from each other in an intersecting point, two straight lines intersecting. We know these are going to be equal. So if I'm trying to answer the question first of, well, what are these angles to see if they're skewed, I better see if I can solve for x first. So I'm going to go ahead and set those two angles equal to each other. So we're going to say, actually, let me make a quick note of it. These two are vertical, thus equivalent. Alright, so to the side here, I'm going to make the statement that angle ABC is going to be equal to angle DBE. And I also know the expressions for them, so I'm also just going to set those expressions equal to each other. So if I can force the zoom a little bit, maybe. Here we go. Alright, so here I see I've got x plus 35, and that's angle A. So I'm going to go ahead and replace it with x plus 35. And I see angle DBE right here, which is 2x minus 10. And we'll put the degree measurement there. And from here, I don't really need the parentheses or the units for now. I'll return to them soon, but let's just go ahead and drop the parentheses. That's not to the 0 to be explicit, otherwise we'd just get 1 equals 1. That's not very interesting. This is saying that it's in measurement of degrees. I should have mentioned that earlier. Alright, and then we have x plus 35. Alright, at this point, if students are feeling pretty confident, which I'm guessing you likely will be, you can pause the video, give students some time to solve it on your own, or keep going. We'll solve it here. I'll draw my line down the middle, and we can see we probably want to reunite our variables and reunite our constants. So I could subtract 2x from both sides, but I don't really want to create a negative that I have to deal with, so let's just subtract 1x from both sides. Bring down what I have. Don't really need the colors anymore, so 35 is equal to x minus x gives me 1x minus 10, and now pretty clear I need to get this constant over to the right, or to the left hand side from the right hand side, so I'll add 10 to both sides. Coughing pause, apologies. We'll cancel there. I've got 45 equals x. And you might be tempted to come here and say, oh, well, I have a 45-degree angle. No, I do not. My variable in my expression for the measurement of this angle is 45. So let's make sure if we're trying to find angle ABC or DBE, I better plug that back in. And actually, if I want to find either of them, all I need to do is plug it into 1. So over here, I'll go ahead and write, well, I'm trying to find angle ABC. That was x plus 35 degrees. Let's just swap in that x there for 45. So I've got 45 plus 35 degrees will be that angle measure, and I just add those up and I get 80 degrees. And really we can say that's also this angle here. So I'll go ahead and label them. I know that this now is 80 degrees, and since this is vertical, I know this is also 80 degrees. And we can go back to the question and say, well, if it's skewed more than 20 degrees away from 90, so really our range is anywhere below 70 degrees or above 110. And let's just, for good measure, we could even find these angles incredibly quickly. So first off, if I look at this whole thing opens up to 180, therefore it's supplementary. So if this is 80, this must be then 100 degrees to make it add up to 180. We also know this from a couple different ways, so you can do the same thing with supplementary angles. You go vertical angle from here, a bunch of different things, but both of these are within 20 degrees of 90, so we will say this is not skewed. Alright, so if you have any questions, you can ask your neighbors, you can ask me when I get back, you can ask the kind substitute that's filling in for me, but you'll have some time to practice this afterwards. But this is me signing off to go rest. I'll hopefully see you all tomorrow.